Yes, the way that we stand is very important. Don't forget that most of the awake hours we either spend seated or standing. Before we do walking or any movement or any training, we spend a lot of time standing. If that standing is inefficient, that for most of us it is, unless we start paying attention and working on it, that inefficiency in that standing posture creates tension. Tension, right? Because we're adding more work for some muscles and leaving some muscles out of the picture. We're putting more stress in certain joints and soft tissue. And all of that starts becoming kind of chronic because the way that we stand is pretty much always the same. So we keep building and building and building, and that becomes part of who we are. And of course, we are taking that when we start moving. And of course, that is gonna make a big difference in how we move, how we're able to access the body parts, how we move, and of course, how we feel. Today, I'm gonna take you through a little follow along where we're gonna be working on improving or at least realizing where we are to maybe then start improving just the standing posture. I'm going to start by first finding our feet hip width apart. So not too wide, not too narrow, just these ankle bones under the hip bones. You're gonna try to find the feet or the toes pointing mostly forward. It can be a little bit angle, just don't stand like this or too much like this. Point forward with a little angle. Now from there, I'm gonna give you my side. From there, what I want you to do is to lift all the toes and find those tripods that I always talk about, the 3 points of support of both feet, and then you're gonna bring the toes down. We're gonna make sure that the knees are not in the lockout position, because when I lock out the knees, most of the time, first I put a lot of stress on the knees, but also I tend to, or I see people always tend to fall forward, okay? Bringing the hips too much in front. So find the feet, unlock the knees, and just notice where the body weight is. In regard to the feet, or forward and back, we want that weight to be in the middle of the foot. Not too much on the heel, that would be falling back. Not too much on the forefoot, on the toes, that would be falling forward. See if you can find that. That goes with the hips. You can try moving the hips. If you bring the hips forward, you will feel more body weight on the front of the feet. If you bring them back, it's like, okay, that's more on the heels. Now we're gonna try to find this hip, so where this bone, the hip bone, is on top of the ankles, and the body weight on the feet feel like, oh, now we're in the center of the feet. Okay, that is where most of the body weight is. And that should start giving us some balance in this standing position. Then we need to check that we're not leaning too much on one side. This is exaggerating, right? But you can play with this and bring the pelvis from one side to the other side. Now you feel all my body weight, or most of my body weight, is on the right side. Now it's on my left side. And now I want to try to find the neutral position there. So where both legs, or each leg, is receiving around 50% of my body weight. Okay, so we have in this plane, I'm centered. In this plane, at least on the lower body, I'm centered. You can just do by feeling the point of contact of the feet with the ground and how much weight there is, okay? We can also check the rotation, the other plane, because sometimes we tend to be like this. And listen, all of this is gonna feel maybe a little bit weird because we find ways to stand that if we stand there for way too long, this is gonna be my normal, and this is gonna feel comfortable. So when I go here, this feels weird. So it's completely okay if you start feeling like, oh, but this doesn't feel right. Look at the mirror, maybe film yourself, and start noticing. This, just standing like this, as you can see, is gonna start creating different tension throughout the body. Muscles that need to be working extra on this position, they may get tight, they may get like overworked, where other ones are just not doing anything, so they may become weaker or even disconnected from the nervous system. So pay attention to that and try to adjust. So now we have the lower body in a more balanced position. Oh, we were checking the rotation. So notice, rotate to one side, rotate to the other side, and now find the middle ground when I'm not rotating, so the pelvis is pointing forward. So we have forward and back, side to side, and then the rotation. See how that feels. It's okay if it feels weird. Just maybe look at yourself in the mirror, film yourself, take a picture. Okay, that's what it is. I like to close my eyes so you get a little more sensation. Oh, that's where it is. Okay? The next thing that I want you to practice and play with is also the position of the pelvis. Okay? In this plane, we can bring the butt out, so that would be tilting the pelvis this way and then tilting this pelvis or the pelvis this way. Okay? Notice first if you can find this movement and then explore the range, because then we're gonna find a neutral pelvic position. In this position, if I place my fingers around my hips, the front fingers of the index and the thumb should be level, and you can notice if I go like this, then my thumb is higher. If I go like this, my index is higher. So try to find that neutral, okay? Excellent. Now, in regard to the spine, because that's another big portion here, you know, some people tend to be more rounded, okay? Some people tend to be more like this. This is not also, sometimes I feel like people think that this is good posture, right? I'm straight, and it's not, okay? We need to move the spine, especially try to find this thoracic portion, move it into, this is extension, this is flexion, and see if you can find the middle ground. The upper back should have a little bit of curve. The same with the low back, a little bit of arching curve, okay? That is what a neutral or ideal spine will look like. So notice how that feels, okay? Then we're gonna find the shoulder. Shoulders, as we all know, in all of us tend to roll forward with time. They're internally rotating forward, more like this, together with this back like that, okay? So what I want you to do is first set up the spine in that neutral position, then leave it there, and now we're gonna do some circles with the shoulders, mostly to see where they are, to get a feel of where they are, and we wanna place them slightly back and down. They don't need to be super back. Make sure that they don't roll forward. See if you can just place them back, okay? And see how that feels on the back, on the shoulder blades. You want the shoulder blades to be right on the rib cage, a stable position there. Okay, see if you feel that. After you do that, you can check on your arms. Are my arms in front of the body? And where are the thumbs pointing? If the arms are in front or the hands are in front, that means that we still have the shoulders in this internal position or internal rotated position or roll forward. So just make sure that you can find this position where the arms are by the side of the body and the thumbs are pointing forward. Okay, see how that feels. Don't forget the lower body. Try to keep everything in place. Now the last portion, and maybe one of the most important one, is the head position. Because remember, the body is gonna always follow the eyes and the head. So if my head is falling forward in this position, the whole body is gonna tend to fall. And this head is pretty heavy. So imagine all the work for these muscles to keep this. So it's so much better when we can bring this chin back. Ideally, we wanna have the ears on top of the shoulders. So if we can play with this, just again, to notice where is our head in space, you can reach forward with the chin and then reach back. See if you find this movement, right? Can I move the head forward and move it back? And then I'm gonna try to place it in a way that I'm reaching from the top of the head, I'm looking to the horizon, and my ear is in line with the shoulder. After all of that, we should have ear in line with shoulder, shoulder in line with hips, and hip in line with ankle. So in this position, close your eyes, see how that feels, but we should start getting a sensation of very efficient standing position where the muscles are balanced and it doesn't require some muscles to be working extra. Close it here, take a couple breaths. Of course, it's gonna feel maybe different or weird at the beginning because that's maybe not the way that you normally stand. But I would really recommend to little by little start practicing this, bringing yourself in here, spend some time, and of course then it's gonna be a matter of working other things to make sure that the body just decides to go into that. Because if we have restricted areas or too much tension, it's easier for the body to go there. Okay, so that is my intro to a standing posture. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any questions. It's gonna feel a little bit weird. Just what I would recommend when you remember, just practice. Very important if you have decided to leave the chair desk, right? The desk, and go into a standing desk. This is gonna be very important to you too, because you spend a lot of time standing, and if that standing position is not very efficient and is creating more stress and more imbalances, you wanna start taking care of that. I hope this is helpful. Please let me know in the comments below. Have a great day. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe, like the video if you like, and see you soon.